Consent and approval today, we have exonerations. There are 33 listings, $1,706.33 for tax years 2011, 12, and 13. Fiduciary orders as of September 18th. Minutes as for the meeting of July 17th. Pay vouchers, General County Fund, $352,655.71. General County Fund on the purchasing card, $2,164. Whole Severance Fund, $27,934.08. 911 cash, $14,178.27. Mason-Dixon Park, $64.53. Camp Muffley, $3,474.29. Chestnut Ridge Park, $6,549.75, for a total of $407,020.63. I have budget revisions. Circuit clerk is moving $5,000 for overtime salaries. I have another for the construction fund transfer. This is moving funds into the account to be spent on renovations for the federal building. The prosecuting attorney has received a check from the city from the forfeiture funds of $4,204, and that's being moved into her budget. I've done the revisions for the Sheriff's Office 702 to increase 2 part-time employees to full-time status. I have one for fairs and festivals. This is the money that you had pledged to Scott's Run for their street fair. And I also have funding in parks for the Friends of Deckers Creek.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Kelly.
I just wanted to present to you the publication list that will be in the Dominion Post. So, for your approval, if you want to just accept it today, and then you can approve it.
This is 2012.
Yes, those are for 2012 taxes.
And,
And those are real estate properties. And the sale is November the 4th at 9 a.m.
And downstairs,
Yes,
on the first floor. Downstairs on the first floor, November 4th, and they have till November 1st to pay,
Yes.
pay to get off the list.
right.
Okay.
Do we have to accept it or?
Yeah, move to accept.
Move to accept the delinquent tax list?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, Renetta.
I've got the yellow tabs today, so I'm sorry.
You want the blue pen?
Yes, please.
All right.
Get the reimbursement out of the way first. DUI grant for August of 2013, $15,092.09. That's all the reimbursements that I have.
Move for reimbursement of the DUI grant?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passed.
Okay, we have some grant awards and some grant applications that are requiring your signature. First one is for the West Virginia Office of Economic Opportunity for the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. It's for $170,000, and that covers homelessness in Monongalia County. Has agencies Caritas House, RDVIC, Bartlett House, and a connecting link.
Is the homeless task force in this?
Yes, they're in partnership with a connecting link.
Have a motion on this?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, second thing I have is a request for a project amendment for the West Virginia Development Office for the Community Participation Grant Program. For West Virginia Women Work, they had to modify their grant application slightly to cover some costs that were unexpected. I'm just going to read the resolution that accompanies that. Be it resolved that the Monongalia County Commission hereby authorizes the Honorable Eldon A. Callen, President of the Monongalia County Commission, to act on its behalf by signing the request for project amendment for the West Virginia Development Office in order to amend the scope of the projects pursuant to the provisions of the Community Participation Grant Program. The amendment is being requested for West Virginia women work for $4,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed.
Okay, we have a grant agreement for the Governor's Highway Safety Program. This is actually the application. We'll be receiving the contract in another month or so. This is for $160,000 for the DUI program. It starts October the 1st and runs through September 30th of 2014.
Move for approval.
Well, wait a minute.
Well, move
I
accept.
got a resolution.
Oh, sorry.
Be it resolved that the Monongalia County Commission hereby authorizes the Honorable Eldon A. Callen, President of the Monongalia County Commission, to act on its behalf to enter into an agreement with West Virginia Division of Motor Vehicles to apply, receive, and administer grant funds pursuant to the provisions of the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Move approval of the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Okay. Last thing I have is the grant contract for the West Virginia Division of Justice and Community Services for the Victims of Crime Act, which is our VOCA program that we have here. The funding was reduced this year to $38,737. We requested $48,421. There's the contract and the,
Which one was that again?
this is the VOCA.
Victims Assistance.
Okay, gotcha.
There's a resolution. There's some special conditions that are requiring signature, and also the certification against lobbying, and the equal opportunity of employer certification as well.
You can't lobby for what?
You can't use funds to lobby. Doesn't matter what for.
You just can't use
Just
You
it.
just can't use those funds to lobby anything.
Right, anything.
Right. Be it resolved that the Commission hereby authorizes the Honorable Eldon A. Callen, President of the Monongalia County Commission, to act on its behalf to enter into a contractual agreement with the Division of Justice and Community Services to receive and administer grant funds pursuant to provisions of the Victims of Crime Act grant program. That's it.
Move for approval of the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Your Honor, may I ask a question to Kelly Palmer
Yes.
about? I'm just going
Help
through.
yourself.
Okay, I'm going through these, and I'm glad to say my name's not on it. But what do we do? I mean, without mentioning this rental company's name, which I see it must be around $50,000 on 25 properties. What is the process if they do not pay? I was just wondering. I mean, what do we do?
Where you are on the list,
So-
I can kind of guess the name.
Yeah.
Those will be paid before the sale. But
Okay.
for those that are not,
Yeah.
we sell a tax lien against the property.
Okay.
And then they would be able to redeem that. They'll have,
Because I even noticed some individual names that, I mean,
and sometimes it's an oversight, and
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
that's for the second half taxes that were unpaid. We send certified letters
Okay.
to all of those people, giving them the deadlines and letting them know.
so
that-
everyone's going to get a certified.
Yes.
Now, because of that, they pay a little extra because
Yes.
there's a, okay. I just wanted to
And they
make
pay
sure.
the publication fee for it being in the newspaper.
Okay, and this will all be in the, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Joan Gibson.
I'm representing the three Monongalia County Daughters of the American Revolution chapters, Colonel Zachary Morgan chapter, the Elizabeth Luddington Hagens, Colonel John Evans chapter, and the Woodburn chapter, with the proclamation by the Commission. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to the rule by law, and whereas September 17, 2013 marks the 226th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week. Now therefore we, the members of the Monongalia County Commission, by virtue of the authority vested in us, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties. Dated September 18, 2013. Eldon A. Callan, President. L. W. Bartolo, Commissioner. Tom Bloom, Commissioner. Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
I personally want to thank you. People have asked me always whether I'm quoted Democrat or Republican. I always say I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a strong believer in the Constitution, and I'm just going to throw two things out. That's what this whole case is about that I'm involved in. Thank you.
Constitution is probably one of the most important documents in ensuring people's freedoms against government tyranny, that's for sure. Heard something on Hoppy Churchill the other day that I thought was interesting. A lot of people don't know James Madison, the primary composer of the Constitution, was not a lawyer.
Really?
He wasn't a
I
lawyer.
didn't know that.
And they were joking on Hoppy Churchill the other day about, I was talking with someone from the Constitutional Organization, that if the lawyers wrote it, it would have been 600 pages long.
And we still would be
2,000.
debating. Yeah, we'd still be debating what they said.
That's right.
That's pretty good.
Did any of you want pictures with the commission?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'd be.
Okay, I'll come up.
Yes.
Why don't you all come up?
Sure.
Yeah, he's got cameras, yes.
I'm not going up there.
Burgess, come on up.
Hey, everybody knows I'm DA over. Through and through.
Yeah.
There,
Everybody
get
ready to
in.
smile?
Yeah.
What'd you do with
You've been dead.
it? Let me take a couple, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank,
Anybody
Wait a
else?
minute.
I guess somebody else wants pictures here.
it's all set.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Lord.
To be in a post office meeting.
And it might be at the school board.
How do I make it a little bit wider?
I can do it. Oh, you can.
I'll have to get
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm old
Get this
school.
guy's head.
It's you, Ron.
It's the glare.
Here it was.
It's the glare.
It's off my head.
Okay.
Now, as far as yours, I didn't take it.
Smiling, Frank.
Check it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can get somebody to look at it.
You'll have to share that with them, their camera.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Something happened to my battery.
James Madison also didn't like
I
how
guess.
some of us.
That's
Yes,
true.
That's true.
I've got a lot of James Madison stories. I'm a big constitutional reader of the
Yeah.
history of how we got there and
It's
everything.
amazing. I don't think it would ever be written today.
No,
We would never be able to have it today.
that's true. Okay, Mike Wolf.
Jimmy Smith is going.
Oh, Jimmy's here. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
The MECA 911 Policy Board approved the public-private sector liaison emergency planner position. I'd like to introduce Mike Fortney, who's been appointed to that position. The public-private sector liaison will be working, just as it says, doing emergency planning with the public, local community groups. He'll be going out to Neighborhood Watch, those types of community groups, and working with them with their emergency planning. He'll also be working with local businesses in helping prepare and update their emergency planning. He'll also be working with local community, local cities here in Mon County. He'll be working with state and federal agencies also in helping prepare Mon County for emergency situations.
Will he also be working with the school system?
Probably be working with the school system also,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Welcome aboard, sir.
Welcome, Mike.
We'll be calling on you, I'm sure.
Anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Correspondence. We have any correspondence?
Actually, I'd like to present to the commission, this is a Master's of Fine Arts thesis prepared in 2005 by Susan Spangler. It is the history and analysis of 6 log cabins at 4-H.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
So
Great.
it's very complete on the history of each cabin, their dimensions, conditions. It's very nice. So that was brought into us this week.
What was her degree in? That was her thesis.
Master of Fine Arts.
Fine arts?
Mm.
It's good.
Yeah. So we have 2 copies. We can keep one here and maybe send one out to the camp. Or
That would be great to put out to the camp.
Yeah.
in other correspondence, I have 2 letters from the sheriff. These are regarding the 2 part-time transport officers being moved to full-time, that being Jonathan Merrifield and Thomas Martin. As of September 15, they will now be eligible for benefits. The rate of pay $2,240 per month. And we did the budget revision to take care of it.
We've already approved it.
Well, he sent the letters up. I just got them today. So.
Did we have a motion previously? I know we told him that we were going to
Yeah.
approve this. Did we already have a motion?
We didn't have the names.
Okay.
Also, we should probably approve it again with
Yes.
the names.
Yes.
Okay. Move approval with the 2 names as stated.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed. Very good. Any other correspondence?
No.
Okay. Unfinished business. Appointment to Chestnut Ridge Park Board. Letters of interest received. We got a 1-year term starting September 18th, 2012 to September 18th, 2014. 2-year term, September 18th, 2013 through September 18. 2 2-year terms and 2 3-year terms. That's so that in the future they'd be on rotation
And they'll all be 3-year terms after they expire.
after the initial expiration.
So we have received letters from Nancy Gans, current member, Lisa Spears, Gregory Waggett, Leah Webster, and Joe Kaler. They all
Okay.
expressed interest in continuing to serve.
Okay, we just recently interviewed those people last year,
Right.
and we did a complete interview and appointed them. Now, have we decided which getting which?
Yeah. You want me to take them in the order that I read them? I can, or if you want to draw straws or
You
whatever.
got dice?
Yeah.
Not with me.
Not with you.
It's in the back room.
Well, I guess you could just take them as you read.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
Just the 1, 2, 2, 2.
That's
So-
fine with me.
So I'll move approval as read is the 1 2 2 2 2
Okay.
for the Chestnut Ridge Park Board.
Good.
I'll second it.
I know.
I just wanted to remind you guys you need me.
I was worried about it. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can second it anyway.
Have a motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. We need you, Bill, we need you. Okay, B, discussion and consideration of approval of collaboration agreement between the Monongalia, Tom,
He's out there.
the Monongalia County Commission, the Town of Granville, Monview LLC in West Virginia for the design, acquisition, construction, equipping, operation, and maintenance of the proposed ballpark to be located in the University Town Center Economic Opportunity District.
That's his description, not mine.
Have a seat, Tom.
Yes.
Fine, on the back, financed in part with excise tax obligation proposed to be issued by the county commission.
Well, I've also got another little handout here that is a little bit more clear, I think, for one of the exhibits. It's kind of blown up for Exhibit C because that one is a little bit difficult to see. There's a lot of detail on this, and I'm not
Has
necessarily...
it been changed from the one that was here before?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, these are spick and face that.
Yeah,
on each.
yeah.
This is
Well,
just-
no, that's just Exhibit C because what I have for the agreement is kind of small.
This is what we. I think it's
No,
all
that's
one.
one set.
That's all one set. That's fine.
Oh,
So there's no major
One copy of
changes.
Exhibit 3. See?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, that's all one set. There's not. I wasn't sure of the question.
that's what,
You have three of
Oh, you
those?
can have it.
I've got as many as you need, I think.
Oh, okay.
okay.
All right,
we got
you're
some.
in.
Now we're on.
Now you have one.
No.
This is the same as Eldon asked. This is basically the same as what we.
This is
reviewed.
the
Yeah.
same as what I'd sent over earlier this week,
Right.
but it's just a little bit larger and easier to read, I think. So and color.
But in the agreement, were
The
there any
agreement-
major changes?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no. From what I sent over earlier this week, there's no changes. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
same.
Same
It's the
as-
same.
This
yeah.
was the one we got a week or so ago, and we kept delaying.
The one from the last meeting, we've had some few changes to it. I mean, nothing that is
Right.
terribly structural
Structural, okay.
as to what we're doing, but just kind of tying up some loose ends on the details of it.
Okay.
Um, So yeah, we were up here, I guess, I think it's been 2 weeks ago now, and we had counsel for WVU,
Right.
and we went through the agreement. So I'll go through it again and sort of hit the highlights of what we're doing, and then if you guys have any questions about the detail or whatnot, I'd be happy to try to address those. But this is the agreement for, the plan of how we're going to move forward from here with the ballpark to get it from where we are to get it built. And there will be this agreement sets out that there will be other documents and agreements that we'll need to put in place to carry this out, but this outlines what is to be carried out from this step all the way to the end. So we have the parties to it are obviously the university, the county commission, Monview as the master developer of the town center and of the TIF districts, and then the town of Granville because the ballpark is located within the town. So we have a bunch of recitals here as to what has happened up to this point in time in creating the district, and approvals by the development office, the legislative approvals, the order that was entered by the commission to create the district and impose the excise tax, the authority for the county commission to issue bonds for this project, a reference to the basic structure of how this is all being arranged, which is Exhibit A, and I can go through that with you. And then we get into the detail. And the purpose of the document is, as it states, is to establish the agreement of all of the parties to collaborate to get this ballpark built and financed. That's the basic purpose. Reference that the ballpark is within the University Town Center Economic Opportunity Development District, which gives the county the ability to convert sales taxes to excise taxes and then use that to finance the ballpark, or at least the improvements, not the purchase of the land. WVU is going to purchase the land. A reference to the boundaries, and these are the same boundaries that the county established when the district was created, back when we entered the order. A reference that the county is acting as the district board rather than appointing a separate district board, and we went through the whole analysis of why that was to be done. We have this a recognition that we have this advisory committee in place that's been working together to provide input as to what the design of this ballpark will be. There's a requirement under the Design Build Act that we have what's called a technical review committee. So in lieu of having two separate bodies, the idea is to have the advisory committee, which has already been appointed and established, to also serve as that committee. And I'll go into some of the detail of what that entails. But as far as who's on the advisory committee or how are those members appointed, at least one representative, but not more than 3 from each of the parties to this agreement. One rep from a minor league baseball team, one from the criteria developer, and that's basically a statutory requirement under the Design Build Act that we have someone from that entity on the committee. And then a representative from the Design Build Board, and that again a statutory requirement. And then up to 3 representatives of potential users or other interested parties with respect to the ballpark. And those are to be appointed based on the agreement of the university and the county. So then we set out who all these parties are that are on this committee right now. And you've got the WVU reps at the top: Oliver Luck, Bill Lynn, Randy Mazie as the baseball coach, Jamby, Mr. Doyle, Ron Snyder from the county appointees, Richard Perrin from Monview, Pat a representative from the minor league baseball, the criteria developer representative Bill Mikens, Donna Lipscomb from the Design Build Board, and then we've got as far as the interested users, a couple people from Bow Park, someone from Morgantown Baseball, Mr. Saab, and then Natalie Stone from the Trades Council. Mm-hmm. So that's what we have with this advisory committee and this Jimmy Smith.
It's up there.
It's up underneath.
It's under
Did I
Doyle.
skip that one?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just wanted.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. Okay.
It's on there.
I got you.
He's
Okay.
just here.
So then, the ballpark project. The university is responsible from its own funds to acquire the land and the actual dirt, the site of the ballpark. And they agreed to spend up to $2,300,000 to complete that acquisition. And then they're responsible for all the testing and core drilling and surveying and site work that they feel needs to be done with respect to that land purchase and preparing that land to build a ballpark on it. And so then we've got again a recognition that the university is responsible for all of the site due diligence. Mm-hmm. That's the survey work, all that stuff. The county's not involved in that. They're doing their own due diligence with respect to the land purchase and whether this site is suitable to build a ballpark on it. Those costs would be reimbursable from the bonds, but the $2,300,000 land acquisition cost is not. That's a university expense. So then we go into the programming and public bidding. So we have Brailsford and Dunleavy as the criteria developer, and they have been working with the advisory committee, with the input of the advisory committee, to determine what are the basic design specifications for the ballpark? And then, that's the advisory committee's opportunity to provide their input to that criteria developer as to, what the ballpark is going to look like when it's built. What should it consist of? And under the Design Build Act, the criteria developer is a part of that process, so that the criteria developer essentially puts together a concept of what the ballpark is to be. And then the technical review committee, in consultation with the criteria developer, they then put that concept out for bid, or essentially RFPs, of qualified design builders to submit a response to that RFP request to basically set forth their qualifications to both design and build the ballpark. So that's the first step, and I believe that RFP has been put out, and we're at the stage now where the technical review committee needs to review those proposals and determine 3 to 5 responders to the RFP, the 3 to 5 most qualified entities that have responded to that request. And in fact, I think we have the 3. In fact, I think we have the 3 to 5 that have been identified and approved as to who they are.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so then we go from there, and the university is responsible for, based on the concept of the ballpark, to prepare an estimate of what the cost is going to be. And that cost is not to exceed $16,250,000, because based on the excise tax revenue projections for the district, that's the amount of bonds that can be supported by the county to build the ballpark. So that's their limit of what the county can put into the project, and therefore the limit of the estimate of the cost.
Have we heard at all the possibility of that one, the Penn League, to possibly donate funds? At one time there was discussion, or would that be at a later date?
That they are working on that. As I understand it, they're
That's
working
still
on that
pending.
agreement
Okay.
with the minor league baseball team
Right.
now as to how that would work. So
Okay, so that would be a separate agreement?
yes,
Yeah, and I think there was also on the table possibility of Fairmont State contributing, and
Okay.
American Legion and other entities
Okay.
as well.
Okay. I didn't know, since you didn't say it, I just want to make sure that was still a possibility.
that I think is still on the table.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So then we have, once we have, the approval of the, the design and who the 3 to 5 most qualified design builders are, then we're at the stage where we can actually, put the actual concept out for an RFP, publicly bid an RFP for the actual design build contract. So then those 3 to 5 responders for the most qualified responders, they then have an opportunity to put up their concept as to, what the design would be, what the cost of it would be, what they would build it for. So then once you have the RFP responses from the 3 to 5 as to their concept of what the park would be, what it would look like, then you open those up, and the technical review committee then goes through those 3 to 5 responses of what the design concept is and scores them. So then that scoring is done by the technical review committee. That then comes back to the university and the county to look over that scoring and approve it. That is then sent to the design build board. They then look at that scoring, and they recognize how the pecking order fits, and based on the concept, and then they approve the financial package to be opened. So then it comes back to the technical review committee. They then open the financial package, the cost submittal of those 3 to 5 proposers, see what the costs are, and then you combine the costs with the scoring for the concept of design, and then you have a final score. And then you combine those two, and
Does it go back to the county and the state
then
again?
it comes then not to the design build board, but then it comes back to the county commission and the university to approve. Okay, here's the final combined score, and here's number one. Here's the highest score based on lowest cost and best concept for the design. And then the county and the university have an opportunity to approve that, or you could disapprove it, in which case you'd essentially have to start the process over, go through the process over again.
You have to take the high score?
Take the highest score.
You have to take the high score?
Yeah.
Otherwise you have to start all over.
Otherwise, you start over again. So that takes us through under C2. The county does have an opportunity to have someone, down at the site to monitor construction on behalf of the county. But WVU will be the contracting party for the design build contract, and they will be, they will have someone, their design professional, obviously overseeing construction. They have the ability to have their own people monitoring construction. But then again, as an additional check for the county commission, you have the ability, if you so choose, to have your own representative, talking with WVU's reps and the criteria developer and the design builder.
I'm sure we'll do that.
To have your own input in the process. Change orders, only WVU can essentially deal with minor change orders. Any major change order would need to come back to the county commission for approval. So that would be any change order that would change the basic scope and design of the project as it was put out to bid. So if you're having any significant change to that concept, that has to come back to the county for approval.
Is there a dollar amount to that?
There's not. It's basically any change order which materially affects the ballpark plans as approved by the university and the county. Change order which is not major doesn't require approval. It's a change in concept. It's not really set up as a dollar amount.
Something to argue about.
Well, because we know the design builder is agreeing to build the project for a certain price.
Right.
So any change orders that are made, they still have to stay within that price. Now, if you have,
yeah, that's right. That's why
you're
like this.
that's why you're doing design build.
Design build. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I forgot. I understand.
Target opening date, I mean, this is very soft, but they want to open it sometime in 2015, but they'd like to have it ready for spring ball in like March 2015. That's the ideal. Timetable for development and construction of the ballpark, that's Exhibit C that has all of the detail as to when they plan, to pour concrete and, put up the steel beams and all that stuff. The financing plan would be that the county, assuming that we look at the financial projections of the revenues in the district, and that we're comfortable with that, we're comfortable with issuing bonds, and that all the other factors in this agreement have been met, all the other conditions or contingencies, then the county agrees to issue its excise tax bonds to pay for the design build contract up to the maximum of $16,250,000. There will be a project fund that'll be set up for the bonds with the bond trustee, where all the costs for the project will be paid out of that fund, and it will be a requisitioning process where WVU, its design build professional will prepare monthly a requisition packet, which will be a sort of a summary form that'll show who's being paid and what's being paid, the amounts, and then all the supporting invoices in detail would be attached to that as backup. So WVU and their design professional would prepare that and put it up to the commission for consideration of approval, most likely like on a monthly basis. And then you all agree to approve that so long as those costs have not been previously paid. They're within the design concept that was approved by the county and the technical review committee, and that they're eligible expenditures under the Excise Tax Act. So if it's something that's not an eligible expense for the bonds, then it doesn't have to be paid. But we're presuming that all that stuff will be, and it would be sort of an anomaly to sneak something in that's, wouldn't be a qualifying cost. So then once the county approves the requisition, it's submitted to the bond trustee and then paid out of the project fund. Ownership, number 11, WVU will own, they're paying for the land, and then therefore they're going to own the dirt. They will be the contracting party for the design build contract. However, the county would own the improvements, the ballpark, and the other integral components that are necessary for the ballpark. Anything that's being built with the bonds, the county would own that. There would be a ground lease by the university to the county of the land. There would be a development agreement and lease agreement from the county to WVU, where the county would agree to lease the ballpark and all the bond financed improvements to the university. The university agrees to operate the ballpark, to maintain it, whatever's necessary to day-to-day maintenance, mowing the grass, operating the concessions, all of that, plus any capital expenditures that would be needed to keep the facility up to date for use as a ballpark. And the county essentially, and WVU also agrees to make a lease payment that would make up any shortfall in the, I know this is sort of long-winded, but this is a big agreement.
That's fine, take your time.
The
No,
WVU would agree to make an additional rent payment so that if the excise tax revenues aren't sufficient to pay the bonds, WVU will backstop that. Now, there's also an agreement in here that we'll negotiate with WVU and with the minor league team, because they're going to ultimately operate the ballpark, for a sort of a fixed annual rental payment to the county, and also a bonus rental payment, so that if certain performance metrics are met, there could be bonus payments to the county. So we'll negotiate that in good faith, although we have no guarantees on those components of it right now. The term, WVU agrees to operate this facility as a ballpark so long as any bonds are outstanding. So, once the bonds are paid off, the improvements, then the county agrees to convey the bond financed improvements to WVU. There, the lease would terminate, the ground lease would terminate, the other lease agreement would terminate, and WVU would essentially take over the facility at that point, and the county wouldn't be responsible for any operation or maintenance costs, insurance, anything of that nature. The bonds have been repaid, and therefore WVU takes over the facility, and they have all liabilities and costs associated with it at that point.
would it still, would the entities still be able to use it for different things?
There will be a separate use agreement that could go in perpetuity, that so long as the ballpark is there, or for 50 years, or however long we want to say, then all the parties to this would have certain use and access
So
privileges
we've
to it.
agreed to enter in the use agreement at the time that
Before
bonds are
before
all
we
paid
close
off.
on the bonds, yeah.
Okay.
Or at the time of closing on the bonds, we'll have a use agreement.
Okay.
We're establishing a general operation rent. Okay, we're establishing a ballpark scheduling committee where the county would have a couple of reps on that. The university would, and then the two parties would agree and appoint another member. And this scheduling committee would be responsible after the minor league team. Well, after WVU has first priority with respect to use.
Yeah.
So they establish their baseball schedule, and then the minor league team, and if there is another college team, Fairmont State or whoever, they establish their second tier baseball schedules. And then at that point, you know what the baseball calendar is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the scheduling committee is then charged with, if the parties then have other uses that they would like to make up the ballpark that are outside of those baseball use days, then the committee can schedule that. Okay?
Yeah, I like that. I was glad you got this in. University baseball games, baseball practice, baseball fantasy camps, baseball clinics, concerts, and other events conducted by the university minor league baseball clubs or as otherwise permitted. So there's a lot of things
Yeah.
we can utilize it for.
Yep. Naming rights. This is the county's never really expressed a strong, at least to my memory, desire to sort of establish the name of the ballpark. WVU hasn't really either. But it's kind of generally, as it's been explained to me, the minor league team, the operator of the ballpark, this is a source of revenues for them, naming rights. So, they will sell the right to name the facility to some private party.
And they would get the money.
It would go into this whole performance bonus structure.
Oh,
Those monies would be lumped in with everything
Okay.
else
Okay.
to determine, if the county could get a performance bonus or something out of this.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be the Bartolo Bloom Callan Stadium?
Not,
Three Stooges.
if you guys put up the money, if you guys put up, 150 grand, then maybe you can get your name on it.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially the university and the county are just agreeing at this point to negotiate in
Consider.
good faith and, determine what the name's going to be in consultation with the minor league team. And the university or their operator, the minor league team, whoever they contract with, is responsible for operating the park for events, even if they're not university events.
Right.
Or, if there's going to be an event there, then they have responsibility to operate the park and have it ready for the event. We already covered 13. We already really covered 14 as far as financial performance. Number 20, the parties to this, the university and Monview and the county, are obviously going to have costs throughout this whole process and preparing documents, doing some of the site work for the land that we talked about, costs for the criteria developer and, developing the design of the ballpark and all that stuff. And those types of costs, we're agreeing, can be reimbursed from the bonds, but they still have to stay within the confines of the 16,250. So if somebody's trying to pile in a bunch of costs, if the university wants to pay $2 million worth of site development costs, that's cutting into what they have to pay for the ballpark.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. Then you have Exhibit A, which is this whole structure of the collaboration agreement and the lease agreements and development agreements and all that good stuff sort of laid out in a schematic. And then B is the what makes up the excise TIF district, you know, what land is in the district.
That's all, Matt.
Yes. And then C is the ballpark timeline that the university had prepared that I've given you sort of a colored, blown up thing for. So I guess if you have any questions, I would try to answer your questions.
Well, I just first want to thank you. I know the other two commissioners probably feel the same way. I know this has been a long and tedious project, but I believe you got the concept of when we first started and what we actually have in paper, and I'm amazed that you were able to do that.
It's been a challenge.
But I think it's got, you know, what we want. I think it has the, you know, concepts in there that, you know, the bottom line is that we're all going to work together, and it is for the community. However, it starts
Right.
out, you know, as the baseball
Yeah.
park, and I think a lot of other people will benefit from it. So I think it's a great collaboration agreement, and I hope we can start moving forward.
Okay, good.
Good job.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Yes, you covered everything I was concerned about.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
You did a good job, except for the name.
It was so
I thought maybe we call it Jambies.
I think that's a great name.
There you go.
Bring back Jambies.
Good job, Tom.
So do we now need, do we need a
We need to
approval?
That should have
approve
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move approval of the collaboration agreement as stated in the paragraph.
And
Second.
authorize the president to
Oh.
sign.
And authorize the president to sign it, I'm sorry.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Good job. You need it in blue ink or black ink?
Blue would be great.
Now this, then we'll go to WVU.
Give it to Ron.
That's all right, he's got another.
Oh, I forgot to
Jamie
ask.
just-
Oh, you gonna keep-
Ron, did you have any questions?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you.
How about this collaboration agreement? Did you get a copy? Give him this.
Yeah,
copy.
because we got several.
Here you go. We got-
Did, okay, just now, after we sign it, it goes to WVU. Now, does WVU sign it, or does it have to go up to WVU's
Well, Town of Granville
I
has to
think
sign
they,
it.
I think
No,
they,
okay.
I think they have the authority.
Authority, and then
board
it- okay.
To go ahead and sign it, but I need to send it to,
Granville?
Granville,
Okay.
for them to go through their process and to approve it as a city council and
Well,
then
you-
sign
okay.
it.
That's what I was
Ron, will you need Tom to come? and-
Tuesday.
Ron, will you need Tom to come and explain it to you? Huh?
You could, yeah, that'd be
Well,
good.
He's been
I'm just saying that we'll make Tom available
Okay.
for you
Okay.
if you,
Here's another copy in case you
fine.
want two copies of it.
you know, I don't want you to get stuck down there and
Try and answer.
try to answer something.
I'll make it up. You won't know the difference.
You know what?
Obviously, you're not on film down there now,
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Yes,
Tom.
thank you.
Good job. We'll be seeing a lot of you.
Well, I'll be here also to discuss the
Yes.
the annex.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Is that coming up next? No, we got some other stuff. Okay, C. Community Leadership Forum, September 26, 2013, 7 p.m. Diane? Speak up, Diane. Can I hear you?
Wait, wasn't that during the Republican convention, and he was talking to a chair, and there was
That's
no one
right.
there?
I was talking to the chair. That's it. Diane's every place. You can't pull one on over on her. She's always there.
Community Leadership Forum that we're having next Thursday evening. We're getting some good responses. I've reminded the cities to maybe contact their council people, and so we're going to go ahead with that. We're going to have some light refreshments between 6:30 and 7, and start the meeting at 7.
How many we got?
14.
Oh,
14
All of us.
from all the counties? or municipalities?
Tricia Lewis, Mike Fike, Marty Schamberger, Jenny Celine, Alan Sharp, Nancy Gans, Oliver Luck, Ron Justice, Randy Hudak, Bob Roberts.
Good.
So far. Terry Palmer?
Yeah, he'll be
Okay.
Okay,
So we're proceeding with that. We'll have some refreshments
that's,
ready.
what, next week?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday? Okay. All right. Letter regarding request for map amendment of the West Run Planning District zoning map. That's a letter from Mike Wolf explaining the decision of the commission on, the only one I have here is the one on Idlewild. Well, right? Idlewood Street. Did I say Mike Wolf? Rich Wood, I meant.
No, this is a letter that I prepared to Carrie Blaney advising her that the commission has officially denied the request. So if you want to move in second, just put it on record because now Mr. Pavone will be notified that he has 30 days from today to file an appeal with the circuit court.
Oh, well, I was referring to this.
That's a copy of a letter that the planning commission is sending to Monty Pavone advising him that the request was denied, which is what you're officially doing today.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna attach this letter, or they send it separately?
They're sending it separately. They just wanted the commission to see what letter he was
What
getting.
their explanation was. Well, I just noticed that they did the county's, findings of facts and conclusion of law on that. They referred to the county commission in the letter.
He's explaining that to Mr. Pavone
No.
as to why you turned it down.
Well, what does this letter say?
This
Why is
is-
that different?
Please be advised the Monongalia County Commission did this day formally deny the request for zoning map amendment MA 0012013 as submitted by Idlewood Enterprises. The applicant will be notified in writing by the Monongalia County Planning Commission. They have 30 days from this date to appeal.
Okay.
So just
All right, that's it, it just gives them.
Yeah.
Notice of appeal.
notice, yes. This goes to the clerk notifying her
Right.
that they have 30 days to appeal, which,
Oh, okay,
okay,
very good.
And then a
Now I
letter to
got it.
Marty.
Now I got it.
okay.
This one went notifying the parties, this is notifying the clerk
Yes.
that the appeal date starts running today.
Yes.
Move for approval of the letter.
Second.
A motion, a second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed.
And that officially denies the request.
Right.
Yeah, and it starts the appeal, dates started.
His letter will go out tomorrow.
I
From the
got it
planning
now.
commission.
Sometimes, especially when I can't hear out half my head, it's kinda slow picking up on stuff. Bill had a remark, but he wasn't gonna say it.
That's right, that's right. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, new business. Set bid opening date for one new roof on the courthouse and two roofs on the magistrate court building. How come magistrate court building gets two roofs and we only get one?
There's two different heights of the building over two different structures.
So one over one,
Oh, there's one high building and one low building.
high building, low building. Okay, that's, Wednesday, October 16th, 2013 at 1:15 PM. Or we set the opening date and then we advertise, right?
Yes.
I have a motion to set that date.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed. Wednesday, October 16th, 2013 at 1:15 PM. We'll be opening the bids on those roofs. Set bid opening date for paving of upper level parking deck behind former federal building. Wednesday, October 16th, 2013 at 1:30 PM.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed. Next bid date is set bid opening date for preparation of the Monongalia County Comprehensive Plan, Wednesday, October 9th, 2013 at 1:15 PM.
That's correction. It's subdivision, not comp plan. Mr.
What's that?
Mr. Bartolo caught that. I had on the agenda for the comprehensive plan, actually it's for the subdivision preparation and the subdivision rules and
Oh,
regulations.
yes, we discussed.
That's for the planning commission to contract out, to have someone with the expertise.
Oh, okay, that's
Expedite,
right.
Development of the subdivision
That's,
ordinance.
okay, I was wondering, okay.
Okay.
Thanks
good- good-
thank you for
good
clarifying.
catch. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we talked about last week.
Right,
Yes,
right.
Richwood was here, and we do need to advertise. It's over $15,000 for the
Okay.
service, so that's why
I
we're advertising.
thought we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proposals will go into the planning commission, and they'll be presented at the meeting on October the 9th.
Okay, set bid opening date for preparation money, you have a subdivision. Is that enough time to advertise?
Yes, he said
October
it
9th?
is. I
It
said,
is?
are you comfortable with that, October the 8th and 9th? He said yes.
Sure.
We'll get
Okay,
the ad to the
well,
paper
he-
tomorrow. It's 15 days. It has
Oh,
to
it's
be.
already set to go in the paper tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, Wednesday, October 9th, 2013 at 1:15 PM, subdivision plan documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Discuss approval of funding for MUB to prepare design for waterline extension to residents of Morgan Run. We met with Morgan Run in our work session last week. This has been an ongoing situation for some 20 years. 20 years seems to be the magic, maybe we'll make it happen this time. 20 years seems to be the magic time. It took 20 years to get the Hartman Run Bridge taken care of, so maybe we could get Hartman Run, but I believe the discussion was that we would be willing to pay for an updated proposal, and I believe the amount was estimated at $5,000 to $8,000. I thought maybe we would approve an amount that's acceptable to you all, up to but not to exceed type amount.
Okay.
The other thing too is, just whoever makes the motion here, I'd like to make sure we include that this is not just design. This is also to obtain a bid, and a actual construction cost.
Yes, that's right, that's right, that was the
Because that's
discussion.
what really prompted us to help with the funding to get this thing off the ground.
Right,
So
'cause we needed
so
to
that
know.
the community will know and we'll all know what it's gonna cost to extend this water line. So that needs to be part of the motion, whoever makes it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to that, and I'll let you speak.
Go
Was that the key to why this had to be done was that what had been done previously was assuming that there were no right-of-ways available, no way to go across or obtain. So it had a lot of branches and things, so the prior design is just totally unacceptable. And now with the parties interested, the parties' willingness to give right-of-ways and participate, we really need an updated,
Right.
proper design and a proper contracted bid based on that design.
Also, one of the things that's changed is that I think there's approximately potential of 62 households, but we had a developer here that was willing to pay his fair share for about 30 more homes,
Right.
with the potential to be unlimited for the development if this water line gets extended to probably double that amount. So the development that this water line extension would cause could be very significant, particularly for that area of Monongalia County.
Well over 100 homes.
Yep.
You know. Tom?
No, all I'm going to say is at the meeting, and the two of you are aware of it. It just amazed me. As I said, I'm from the Philadelphia area, and I just did not understand when you were talking about several months ago the need for the citizens, and that we need to get that, because to me it's just I thought it was just a given that everyone had, and I'm just still amazed that we have developments and we need to work through this, and I think it's a great idea, and I want to congratulate the two of you because this is excellent. So I will move to fund MUB for bid and construction costs design for the water line extension for the residents, or to the residents of Morgan Run.
An amount up to
Amount up to
$8,000.
$8,000.
Not to
Should I have
exceed.
not to
Or 10.
exceed?
Why don't you make
Let's
it
go to 10,000 just to play it.
Make it 10.
Amount up to $10,000.
Okay.
That way, just in case there was some extra. Yes.
And I'll second the motion.
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Motion passed.
Okay.
Okay, we got to get the water.
I knew you were going to say that.
Water.
That's a word. Yeah, I'm going to get you all to say that before the end.
I'm working on it.
I know.
I'm picking up your accent here a little bit. Okay, thank you. We got an executive session scheduled for discussion of financing for federal building. Why don't we wrap everything up and then go to executive
Yeah, I have
session?
one thing I should have brought up under unfinished business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you recall, we discussed the possibility of initiating, facilitating a family night at the county's senior centers and community centers with the purchase of a large screen TV set and a DVD player. We did a survey. There's still a couple of those that need decided, so we don't really have an exact amount at this point. But we do have a price on individual locations. Bobby, in his negotiating skills, came up with a very good price of $1,034.
That's 60-inch TVs.
That's a 60-inch Dynex flat TV screen, a TV bracket, Blu-ray player, shelf for the Blu-ray, and cables to hook them up. So I would, at this time, like to make a motion that we approve Bobby to proceed with that project. And at the same time, I'd like to say I don't think we could better spend county funds to serve the people of this county than this little endeavor, because I think this can serve as a nucleus and a stimulus to get communities to draw people out and together and socialize and to just participate in an activity, and hopefully there'll be a spinoff. And I think Tom has some information to add.
Yeah, well, I'll second the motion. Okay, first, and then for discussion, I was fortunate. I met with Ryan Campion, who is the WVU student body president. I mentioned what you wanted to do, and he was quite ecstatic that he's going to push with the student body to get other students for volunteering to work with them and to come up with programs and so on. So he's very excited. This is just one more thing that the students at WVU could work with the senior center. So it just goes really well with what we're wanting to do.
Good.
Yeah, I think the more community there is, and this is a good way of creating that community, the more people are available to help solve the problems and actually help prevent problems. So I remember I was talking to someone here recently, and I emphasized that Monongalia County, Morgantown isn't the way it was when I grew up. When I grew up, I never passed anyone on the street I didn't say hello to. I mean, I said hello to everybody. And my daughter, she laughs because I take my grandson a lot of places. He's 17 months old. And now when she takes him, everybody he sees, he says, hi, hi. So I'm trying to teach him to say hello. But community is the key to not only progress, but safety for everyone, I believe. So I think this is an excellent idea to draw people in. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Full speed ahead, Bobby. Okay, anything else, Bill? Council Commissioners?
I'd just like to throw this out just for thought and discussion. I'm not sure we need to vote on it today or anything, but last Wednesday we had a public hearing on a change in the zoning map. There was approximately, I'm guessing, I didn't really count them, but there's probably in excess of 30 people. And with the exception of the developer, they were all opposed. And the more that we see, and I think this public hearing sort of brought it to light to me in full force, is that you recognize how development is creeping up on quality of life in Monongalia County. And the people that live in this neighborhood brought that out very clearly, that, West Run, everyone knows that West Run is a nightmare. And does Monongalia County need more West Run nightmares? Because if you really listen to what the people were saying, I mean, they're talking about setbacks, talking about character of neighborhoods, and actually zoning was brought about to preserve the character of neighborhoods, ironically so. And that's not really happening. We don't have any zoning laws with the exception of the planning district of West Run. The municipalities, I think, I'm not sure Granville has any zoning.
In the process.
But I think Westover certainly has, and I think Star City has, and I don't think Blacksville has any. So the one thing I was thinking about, and also it came up about the 5 commissioners again, and these are 2 lingering issues in this county, with varying times of support and opposition. And I'm just wondering if we shouldn't bite the bullet here, so to speak, and pursue what it would take for us to put on the ballot. Countywide zoning, as well as 5 commissioners. Not in those wordings. I had a guy say to me, you don't want to put on there, do you favor county zoning or not? The wording on the ballot ought to be something to the extent of, are you in favor of procedures that would control the character of your neighborhood and regulate infrastructure and those kinds of things? As opposed to just, do you want to be zoned or not zoned? Because zoning has a connotation with a lot of people in outlying areas that it's all negative. But I think one of the things that people in outlying areas need to realize is that development's going to creep there. And if we wait, or if they wait, then what's going to happen is we're going to have more nightmares like West Run. It's going to be too late. You can't implement it overnight. And developers plan. And in all fairness to developers, the guidelines would be out. And I guess I'm not advocating zoning, and I'm not advocating 5 commissioners at this point, although I did advocate 5 commissioners, or at least a consideration, if they could come from 5 different areas of the county. But I think the Board of Education sort of sets the model there that we could say that no more than 2 would come from the same area. But I guess the only extent that I really want to go to is the discussion of, have we reached the point where the people of this county need to decide, do you want countywide zoning? Do you want regulations that's going to control the character of your neighborhood, or do you not? And do you want to move from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners, or do you not? We can lay those 2 issues to rest if we can get those on the ballot in this upcoming election in May. And from what I understand, we can put anything on the ballot we want to put on the ballot for a referendum from the people. I mean, we'd probably need further legal definition, but it's my understanding that we have that power and authority to ask for a referendum from the people on the issues.
Sense of the voter.
Yes. And I think it gives us a driving force after that. Because once the people have spoken, then I think they set the goals for us, as well as the county. And that's the way it should be. We are government of the people.
Constitution Week.
Yeah, that's right. In the spirit, full spirit of Constitutional Week.
Thank you. Tom?
Okay, you threw me for a loop because I'm trying to think how I would respond to your comments. I guess my major concern is I have no problem with if we were to put it on the ballot. However, I've learned that if we're going to put something on the ballot, we probably really need clarification. And what I was thinking, for example, was you say, are you interested in 3 to 5 members? Which as you know, I campaign for. But what we would need to have is some sort of meetings and hearings, for example, what the cost would be. What is the procedure of which, because someone could say, I want it, but then say, oh, I don't want to pay that amount of money. Or I want 5, but I didn't want it that way. Or I live in the city of Morgantown and we're the majority, so I want 3 county commissioners. You know, and I don't know. Those are questions, so if you would.
Can I
yeah.
just interject?
Sure,
one
go
thing?
ahead.
Please keep in mind, this is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Even if we get it on the ballot, it's going to take some time to put this into effect, because if in fact the voters would approve the 5 commissioners, we still need to get legislative approval.
Right.
And then it can't be placed on the ballot until the next following election. So you're talking about at least 2 years.
Right.
After this election, a minimum.
Yeah. But my only question, and that's what I would like to have some hearings and meetings, if we were to do that, just to try and clarify what we're really meaning by 5 county commissioners, because, you know, everyone has assumed, is it just going to be 5 separate? Is it going to be, you know, no more than 2? And those are the kind of questions I think we need to clarify before we put it to the ballot. And that, I think it's a great idea. Zoning, I mean, it doesn't matter what we try and do in zoning. I mean, for one person we talk to who likes it, you have one person against it. There seems to be a lot of clarification, but I agree. I mean, I like the idea that we're moving forward in the subdivisions, and I think that's the first start. I think planning districts is the second thing. I agree with you. Even though people think they're in the rural area today, 10 years from now, you know, when I first started at University High School, there was no development in the Cheat Lake area, and now look at the Cheat Lake area. Now look at like the Westover area. So you're right. Bless you. You're exactly right on that issue. And I think we have to look at it, and I think it's something that we need to address. The only other thing I was going to bring up real fast was, and I was asked to say this, the yearly yard sale, which has become a tradition over at Ashton Estates, they're actually going to have another one this Saturday from 8 to 12 o'clock. And if anyone's been there, we literally end up with the police there. I mean, we get about 1,000 people down the road. So I am saying there's another one, so hopefully we won't have the problem. But I did say I would announce the Ashton Estates
I
yard.
think Ashton Estates ought to pay us for a commercial.
Yeah, we do have it in the paper, but you know, so many people are interested in that. I just said I would do that, so I don't know if it's proper or not. If it's not proper, we can strike it, but I've gotten it out. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh, go ahead, that's it.
Tell them we get a percentage. Of
Percentage,
proceeds
yes.
For to pay for our commercial time. I really didn't have anything. I do want to. I think it's always a good idea to let the people have a voice. The only concern, and that's really our job, is to make sure that they understand that when they vote on this, that doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to happen. Or how it's going to happen. It's got to be handled in such a fashion, because it is so easy to have that twisted around to, well, we voted on it, you got to do it. Right. Well,
I'm sure I will get some phone calls if Ben puts this in the paper. Why are you trying to put zoning in the county?
Yeah. And just as a zoning issue, there's a lot of different ways it can be done.
Sure.
And different areas, you know, that could be divided up, districts and stuff. There's a lot of issues, but have it on a ballot. Other than that, my concern of they'll throw it back up into our face. A, if it goes down, or B, if it goes past. You know, either way it goes, there's going to be people that's going to throw it in the face and say it meant something different than what we said.
I really think that I share your sentiment and Tom's as well, and I think that's the wording that's on the ballot that's critical.
Yes.
And there has to be some thought given and some strategy given to creating understanding what people voted for or against.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and just one appearance in the paper won't be good enough. We might have to,
it don't have to be.
take out a piece that fully explains it or something. Right. The thing, I've talked about 5 county commissioners a lot, and the problem I run in is that you can make it 5, you can make it 7, you can make it 15. You know, the reality is A, there's a cost, B, what you're trying to obtain. The third concern that I have on it is that that's what people keep saying. We need 5 county commissioners. Well, there's other forms of government. There's other ways of doing it. I heard that Commissioner Baisden was supposed to plead guilty today. And he announced that he was going to plead guilty. And my understanding is, and I haven't heard officially, my understanding is intend to keep his seat. He's not going to resign. But he's guilty. And see, that's a lot of the problem and confusion. They do not understand a county commission. County commission, what they did is something that we worked to get away from. And what they did was they, and I call it the Mingo County model now, and a lot of counties have that model, and we had that model, basically where 2 of the commissioners would get together and they divide up stuff. Oh, you're gonna be in charge of this, and this, and you're gonna be in charge of this, and this, and I don't care what you do, I'll back you. You know.
Yeah.
County government is not set up that way. The only time we have an authority to issue any orders or directives of any fashion is right here at a properly constituted meeting. And when we sit here, sometimes we're legislators, sometimes we're executives, sometimes we're judicial. But this is the only power. And the Mingo County model was based on that. And they assigned Mr. Baisden, Commissioner Baisden, the purchasing authority. He was going to do all the purchasing. And as I said before, I'm concerned about the other 2 commissioners. Why they let him get away with that? Because at least one of them, if not both of them, had to vote to approve that. We don't have authority to do that. We don't have authority to do that. The same situation would exist with 5. Would 5 county commissioners solve the difficulty? Or would you adopt another one? There are other models. You can go with 5 county commissioners and a elected county executive. You can go with 3 county commissioners, elected county executive. You could go with a Morgantown City model, where you have a county manager, where basically the county commission is just like a city council, and not like. There's a lot of different government models. So that again goes back to what I was saying. When someone says I want 5 county commissioners, it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? You know?
The one thing, and I guess the reason that I look to that is that issue's hung around for at least 4 years.
Oh, I agree with you.
That I know of. I mean, when I ran for the office, there was a petition and claims of over 3,000 names, but I think you make some very interesting points, and I think it is necessary. But I threw it out just to get a little dialogue, and I think that's happening, and I'm glad to see that. But I think what we could do with further discussion and maybe examining the issue is to actually, the wording on the ballot could say, would you be in favor of increasing the cost of government X amount of dollars to move from 3 commissioners
Right, so they knew that
to
it was
5
there.
commissioners?
I think that's
So
good.
that way, it's very plain on the ballot.
Yes.
But that's the things that we could
Well,
do
we can
in
discuss.
discussion.
Yeah.
But I just thought that both of those things sort of came back home to me last Wednesday night at the Planning Commission public hearing, and I thought, well, maybe it might be time that we need to address those 2 issues.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to make that clear. I totally agree with your idea that maybe we need to bring this out to the forefront and try to deal with it. And I think we're also all in agreement that it's going to be so critical of how it's posed and how it's presented. So, thank you very much. All right, reports from elected officials. Mark? Nothing to add. I don't see the sheriff, so Perry, you're in charge today. What, you don't have anything? Huh? Well, maybe Kelly will fill in for you. Kelly's not going to either, huh? All right. Diane, you have any?
I do. Just to update you, the prosecuting attorney is working on an opinion about the 5 commissioners. You would ask me to send it.
That's his-
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
Bill.
good,
Yeah.
I
good.
think it's up to 14 or 15 pages now. She's
15
still-
pages?
she's still working.
Yeah, see,
gave it to a lawyer.
that's what I was trying to say. There are a lot of legal aspects
Yeah.
to this thing.
Yeah, she's talked to Berkeley County, and so that's forthcoming, just want to let you know. And on the other issue, last week when we had the public hearings on the zoning, you reduced the request for application from R4 to R3, which
Yeah.
seemed to be a compromise. You cannot compromise. You either approve it or deny it. Therefore.
Well, if you recall, the motion was that if we can do this, we're changing it. If not, it's denied.
You can't. It is denied.
Okay.
They have, and the parties have to wait 12 months before they can reapply. So just want to let you know that it could not be compromised. It had to be yes or no.
So are they receiving a letter that says that it is denied then?
They will.
Okay.
They will.
Just
Just wanted to confirm that that was your
Okay.
decision to deny if you couldn't take it back to
I-
Frank.
I think that was his motion.
Yeah.
If we could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
You might want to have Janet check it before you send it out as official.
I think
But
that's.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that was his motion. If we can do
That was our
this,
recommendation.
we would reduce it to R3. If not, we would send it back to,
We can.
and I don't know if we can do this, but we would send it back to the planning commission for our recommendation that they modify it to R3.
But they can't do that.
We
for
can't do
12
that now.
months. You have to completely deny it, and then the party has to start over 12 months from now to
It doesn't seem
reapply.
right.
That's the way the law's written. That's the
Who
way
wrote the
rules are
law?
written.
Somebody in the
Constitutional
county.
week, it's constitutional.
Yeah. No, that's the
Want to
question, yeah.
Formally make a
We better
motion
have to
to
do that
deny
then.
the request for rezoning in those other 2 hearings, just so that it's clear on the
But
record.
Well, why
my,
don't-
my question is in statute or is it policy of the planning?
County.
Well, I mean, where does it come
County
from?
Planning Commission's regulations for zoning.
That's how it was passed.
Regulation or the law?
They were adopted to be in place in the
The
Western
ordinance,
Planning.
probably the ordinance for
Oh,
planning.
the ordinance.
Right.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Right.
ordinance, okay, I got you.
It was created only for West Run Planning District.
He should have had that here.
Well, can we address that? We can address that under old business.
Yeah.
You know, it came to light that, you know, we really couldn't reduce it, and we believe that we made provisions when we made that decision, that if we recognized that the potential was there, and if we weren't able to reduce it, then we were going to deny the request for change. And I would move that we reaffirm that position, that since we have found out that we cannot reduce, that we reaffirm our position that is in fact denied.
Up, second.
A motion, and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
motion passed.
For both of them.
So they all 3 were denied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like
No
to.
change.
Okay, there's no change, but I would like to add that, and I had stated, I voted for it because it is a denial of the specific change, but I believe that it should have been changed. Well, we all believe, but it doesn't really matter, I guess.
We all
yeah.
believe that that
It
should
doesn't
not-
matter, you're right.
We all believe that Allen should not exist.
Yes.
And
12
part
months,
of-
yes.
part
I
of
thought
my-
we did
part of
change
my
1 to
concern-
R3.
Part of my concern
I agree.
was
That's
that
what I
they
wanted
were
to
We
say.
did change 1 to R3. Don't you remember asking them to raise their hands? We didn't deny all of them. We changed 1 to R3.
No,
This is what
no.
she's saying.
She
She's saying
can't, we
can't do that.
cannot.
That's what she's saying, we can't do
Yeah,
it.
Oh,
and what I was trying to say, I think what you were just about to say, Eldon, is my concern is I just don't think it's right that they have to wait 12 months for something that we all agree should be something. Is there anything else we can do? And I don't think there is. The way
That whole area,
Yeah.
my big concern with that was they had a little chunk
Right.
And they just eating a little chunk off. That just doesn't seem right to
No.
me, that it's obviously was a clerical error
Right.
when they did that map. Why can't they go back and fix it?
That is tending to be the characteristic of mapping changes, is that they're dissecting, taking from residential, single family dwellings, and they're dissecting and trying to get in multifamily. And when you look at it, they may just touch on the corner. But you can see it's obvious by the map, it's certainly gonna impact the character of the neighborhood.
Can we then set, okay, even though we can't do anything, I would like, could we send a question to Mr. Wood to ask, what can we do to make a change because, so this doesn't happen again?
Right.
Or if there's a change, because I believe a year is too long if you own property, and there was, I think we all agree, there might have been on one of them a possible technical mistake.
Right, yeah.
And I believe it's, what are our options from him, because we believe it's unfair and it should be addressed.
Well,
That's my personal opinion, okay?
all I'm saying is you might wanna re-examine that, because if you see the position of the people that reside in the neighborhood, you can certainly see an unwavering position. It's not gonna make any difference if it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or 2 years. They're not gonna change their position. And when you look at the growth in this county in different areas, I mean, when they talk about the water runoff, when they talk about the lack of roads, they talk about the safety factor, they talk about the traffic in coming into their area, that's not gonna do anything but get worse. It's
Right.
not gonna get better, it's gonna get worse. So I don't know, I don't know if I think it should be a case-by-case basis. I mean, if it's something that a developer can do to change their proposal, then okay, then fine, come back when you change it and it's agreeable to the people in the neighborhood.
And that may be one of the amendments we have to put in, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because of that one unique situation, which we believe may have been a technical error. I just find it difficult to wait 12 months is not fair. And I believe if 98% of the people were treated one way, and this person wasn't, constitutional week.
Well, see, that's, and that was my concern with
Yes.
the whole thing, because this area was made an R1. Now, I didn't like it, they were just piecemeal on that.
They
out.
did.
I didn't like that. What bothered me was that the people across the street and 2 people up the road that was also single family was R4.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
No.
Well, and I can tell you the other one real concern is when you move to R4, there's a lot of flexibility for the developer.
Right.
Yeah, do almost anything.
Where in R3, it restricts them to 16, they can go to 40.
Right.
So the significance of an increase of 24 households or multi-family.
But from one R1 to
I mean,
R3,
you're
though.
talking, you're talking about the potential for 48 cars
Right.
increase, and then the developer doesn't have to get any more approvals.
Yeah, well, I think what Tom's getting at, what
Yeah.
is, it just doesn't seem right. And maybe we could throw this into the question that we're trying to answer, is if these 3 or 4 other houses that were right next to this lot are single-family units, why aren't they R1? So if we can't change, why aren't these R1, and is there any way we can fix that? I mean, if this is R1 and you got 4 or 5 others R1, why are these 4 or 5 others that are single family R4?
Right.
Why can't we go back and fix that? One way or the other. Make this R4 or make the others R1.
Maybe what needs to happen is maybe we need to send back a message to the planning commission. We need you to re-examine this map.
That's what I'm
Because
asking.
we can head off some
Yeah.
appeals or requests
That's a good idea.
if we make it more logical.
Yeah, I think that's what Tom was getting
Yeah.
at. What he really wants to do is how can we fix this? Because we see problems in the way
Yes.
this is being done.
To change the ordinance would have to be by first reading, second reading, and public hearing to change the ordinance.
That's all right. We're here all the time anyway.
Well, but I'd like to see what, what they said, but I think they made, I understand they made stringent rules, but then we're starting to find specific problems, and we need to have some flexibility.
Right.
And
You need
I
to be
agree
able to
with
fix
flexibility on
things
an
in the law.
individual basis, so that so we can make it all together. I don't wanna piecemeal it, but no, and that's what I'm asking them to look at.
There's gotta be,
Okay.
there's gotta be a way to correct error.
Yes, that's right. That's the easiest way to say it.
Okay.
Okay,
We're behind.
Bobby, Renetta, Jamie, Ben,
Bring nothing up to discuss.
May I ask one question?
Oh.
Since we're going into executive session, we have several people waiting for interviews.
Mhm.
Would you grant permission for
The
myself
interview.
and Renetta and Jamie to interview them without having to wait?
That's a great
Because this
idea.
next session will take a
why
while.
don't you all do the executive session? We'll do the interviews. They're more fun.
That's fine. I think that's fine.
I just take.
'Cause
it
they're
as
waiting,
we're-
yeah.
We're a half hour behind.
You
right
can
now.
make the recommendation.
All right. All right,
Move to go to executive session, and at the same time, the leadership, administration, interview those individuals.
Okay.
And if we get done with this, then we'll. go
Yeah.
into-
yeah, I would like to at least say hello to them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go into executive session.
Need a second.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in recess for 10 minutes while people do their thing, and then we'll have executive session.
Finance into the federal.